Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Moby. I'm Dr. Moby, and today we are honored with great guest RJ Adler from Vermont. Let's welcome him. How are you doing, sir?
Good. How are you doing, Dr. Moby?
Yeah, great to see you. Thank you for coming to our show, and let's hear from you about your business and so forth.
Yeah. I am the business development director for WheelPad. We are a new solution to an old problem. WheelPad designs home attachments and backyard tiny houses that can rapidly make any property universally accessible.
Okay.
So if you suddenly find yourself in a wheelchair after a traumatic accident and you need to go home, we can make it so that your home is all set up to help you achieve your goals in life at home.
Okay, very nice. So it looks like you started with founder and president Julie Lindberger.
Lindberger, yep.
And then this is you, and then you have another partner to administration, right?
Yeah, Luella's more on marketing. We should probably update that.
Okay, very nice.
Is our permitting, permitting manager, and then Neil helps us with distribution.
Okay, very nice. Okay, so tell me about where do you start? When did you start actually?
WheelPad started in 2018. Started manufacturing. We were born out of a traumatic experience where Riley Poor, who's the godson of the founders, he was in an accident and he had to use a wheelchair after that accident. But his home wasn't universally accessible, nor was his parents' home. So he had to find a place where he could recover. And it took them 9 months. They ended up buying a house and renovating it from the inside. Julie and Joseph were architects, so they helped out in that. They started Line Sync Architecture 25 years before that. In the middle of that time, there was a conversation, hey, what if there had been this home attachment that would have brought all the universally accessible features that you needed right to your home in one time. And from that, they made a design and started a company. And I actually joined about a year ago.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about your business model, and also if you can help other businesses how to survive.
Yeah, so we are essentially selling the home attachments. So one of the difficult things, especially if you live in a rural place like Vermont, is that finding labor to complete a project is difficult, but also we're kind of at the end of the line for materials. So the more of a project that you can deliver, fully finished, the sort of easier it's going to be able to be to complete that project. So, we are able to deliver our units anywhere across the country pretty easily because they're made to be pulled behind a regular pickup truck. They're 8.5 feet wide, and you don't need a commercial driver's license to pull them. So we work really, we're relying on other businesses, contractors across the country to help us build those connectors.
So basically, are these ones basically some of the ones you have the interior and the custom ordering and constructions?
Yep. that's the idea.
Okay, so that's the idea. So I see that they are very environmental friendly units. So is that the concept which goes with it?
Yeah. So Line Sync Architecture, the architecture firm that Julie and Joseph founded, specialized in environmental building, green building, kind of before it was cool. And then they also had this specialty in universal design. So they put those two things together in the wheel pad. And there's definitely ideas, there's definitely things about the unit itself that are meant to be friendly to the environment, like you see in a lot of different building, right? So like we've got a high energy efficiency in the unit. It's heated and cooled by a heat pump. It's solar ready. The walls and floor and ceiling are really thick.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also sort of this second tier of being green that comes with being able to reuse our units. So if you only need universal accessibility at your home for a short period of time, say you're you need to recover at home after a surgery or after an accident, and then you don't need it after that, well, we can take the wheel pad and easily move it to another home and install it on the next home. So that sort of reuse then makes it such that you don't have to, you can use materials over again, right? And all those materials don't have to be created again. So that whole upstream, carbon investment that went into creating all the bits and pieces of the unit, delivering the unit, are sort of then used again. So definitely being environmentally friendly is a big part of our business in a lot of different ways.
Okay. And so how many rooms or sections are there in the unit?
So the wheel pad, the smallest unit is a bedroom and a bathroom.
Okay.
So it's meant to be a home attachment. We have, we go a little bit bigger from that, where there's enough space for a kitchen in the bedroom. So it's kind of like a studio apartment. But we can also take our smaller units and build them together into one larger building. We call that multi-pad. And the multi-pad has some pretty huge implications for creating universally accessible, affordable housing.
Yeah, I see that. And the cost is not much. I think. Give me a typical cost for a small, kind of small size family unit.
So the smallest size that home attachment is delivered to your house anywhere in the lower 48 for $79,000, which when you compare that cost to the cost of being in a nursing home, if you're trying to or the cost of renovating your home with all the same universally accessible features that you find in the wheel pad, you're able to it's quite cost comparative. But beyond that, for folks that purchase a wheel pad, we'll actually purchase it back from them when they're done with the unit. So again, if they only need it for 5 years for whatever purpose, we'll purchase it back from them and then be able to rehab it and sell it on the secondary market.
Now, these wheel pad, it can be taken out or combined with RV and basically moved anywhere?
So it does need to be connected to existing utilities and water infrastructure on site. So that basically means it needs to be connected to a home. There's not a septic tank on board. There's not, the water obviously has to come from somewhere else. There's a water heater, but in order to, be fully functional and operational, it needs to be connected to a host dwelling. So it's mobile, but it's not meant to be moved around like a travel trailer. We'd love to be able to make that travel trailer one day, but that's sort of in the future.
Okay, so it's in the video. So, but still, it is on wheels and it can be moved, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So I think what I was thinking basically, let's say if they move to, so what kind of permit they need to put that in? So do they need to own that land, or do they need to? They can put it at a park.
They could probably put it at a park with the right connections, but it depends on what permits are required by the park or what permits are required by the town. But you were kind of getting at something earlier, which is if a family needs a universally accessible space for whatever purpose, maybe they have a family member that uses a wheelchair. And then they need to move for whatever purpose. Well, they can take their wheel pad with them on the move. So they can, install it on their next house. Or, if they're moving to a new area, they can't find a universally accessible location. Well, they can make any location universally accessible if they put a wheel pad on it as well.
And do you think a lot of charity organizations, especially with people homelessness, you think we can help them because it's kind of cost effective, it's not as super expensive. So maybe we can have some kind of dwelling for those homeless people?
Totally. And, definitely trying to find what those angles are. I was saying, especially in Vermont, it's difficult to build affordable housing because of the labor shortages that we have up here and the material shortages. And that's the case in a lot of places, especially rural places in Vermont. But, again, that sort of marriage of modular building and building on site, especially with that multi-pad that I was telling you about, where we, make multiple units in, using our wheel pads, that comes to a cost that is a little bit less expensive than your traditional stick-built construction for affordable housing. So definitely, trying to work with affordable housing developers across the United States on, how we can use this to make more buildings universally accessible.
And do you think it'll be possible to kind of line up with some non-profit organization and maybe build something in terms of kind of lesser expense, maybe, and then maybe let's say order a couple of 100 units or something, and get these homeless maybe off the some kind of you think that probably will be somewhere not a difficult job to think about, right?
Yeah, once you build one, it's a whole lot easier to build more. So
yeah,
there are programs out there where we would love to be able to, build dozens of these to house multiple people all at once.
Yeah, and are they built with basically the wooden, or is it what kind of material do you have to use?
So a lot of traditional building materials are used. The walls, though, are made out of structurally insulated panels, or SIPs. So that makes the ability to connect it. Pretty easy, and makes the build, be able to be done more quickly. But also, a lot of folks that use wheelchairs have sensitivities to different chemicals. So a lot of what we've built, is made with sort of earth-friendly chemicals or sort of earth-friendly materials that are free of chemicals, and you don't have to, to make it a better environment to live in.
And that would be great, So we were talking a little bit about solar power. You said, and there's the option to do solar for these units.
They're solar ready, which means you can put solar on the unit if you want to. It's probably with the amount of space that's on top of the unit. If it's not going to power your entire house, especially depending on how much power you put on, you use in your house. But again, trying to make it something that's available.
Mhm. So you think that would be possible, but for the basics, it can work. The solar power, but maybe few lights and few maybe like, but it probably won't bake, the electric oven. But right,
Well, not for the entire house that it's connected to.
yeah. And what about some of the eco-friendly, water systems? So does it use less water, or is that those kind of new regulations? Are they like your restrooms and those?
Yeah,
Probably.
I mean, we're building these new, so we're able to use, modern, modern toilets, modern water heaters, that kind of thing. So all of the efficiencies that go into those systems are built into our system as well.
Mhm. Okay, very nice, very nice. So, what kind of support did you get from in Vermont, or are you getting other states interested too?
Definitely getting other states interested. We've had a lot of support from different states' assistive technology programs.
Mm-hmm.
There was a law in 2004
Mm-hmm.
that said that every state needs to have a program that can help citizens in that state who have mobility challenges or who are blind or who are deaf or might have some other ability challenge where they can get access to training, get access to different types of materials. Maybe it's a loan of equipment to learn how to use it. Maybe it's a reuse for people that are no longer using their equipment. Some of these organizations in different states have funding available for home modifications or low cost financing for for home modifications or vehicle modifications. So that's certainly something that we've gotten help from. We've gotten a lot of help from AARP. We won their national pitch competition, and that was in the fall, so 5 or 6 months ago. And we're looking for always looking for partners and have some partners sort of in the home care industry, in the in the real estate industry, occupational therapists, physical therapists, just kind of telling them that we are now a solution that exists, because a lot of people don't think about home renovations as coming on wheels.
So that definitely, I think it's a good thing that it can give solution to so many different budgets, and it can, depending on how much you can afford, you can basically make one for that community or for that person, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I also like to ask you about a little bit on some of the financing. Do you think, do you have some lenders? Do they work closely with your company, or?
So there are certainly lenders in the state of Vermont that have worked with us in the past, and we can work with again. It's a little difficult, right? And this is something that is part of the entire accessory dwelling unit industry, where new funding, funding new things, banks always get a little bit shaky about. So we've definitely used some funding through those different AT programs. We've definitely worked with small credit unions. Folks have worked with their banks. Sometimes they take out they refinance their house to get some cash. I'm searching. I'm on the search for a sort of in-house funding solution, so I can come to the table and say, hey, we're working with X bank or whatever, and they're able to help finance your wheel pad for 10 years at so much percent, 3%, and we'll see where that goes, right? I mean, we're building a business, and one day we'll have that option.
Okay. And I'm putting some of the features and so forth up for the website for people to look up. And also, like, best way to contact is through your website, and this is the website we have, wheelpad.com, right?
Wheelpad.com. Yeah, and if you all have questions, you can email me directly, and there's my email right there, rj@wheelpad.com.
Okay, great. And also, I'm really excited. I think this can really be a good choice for a lot of people, especially who can't afford, high-end housing, or, and this is pretty mobile and pretty, what about winter temperature? It looks like it's pretty well tolerated for that, right?
We're a Vermont company, so we use we know winters up here.
Yeah.
So the walls and the floor are an insulation level of R25.
Oh, that's pretty.
And the ceiling is an insulation level of R38. So that's a very high insulation level, especially for something that's on wheels like this.
Yeah. And that would be excellent, actually, because it is. So this is how it will look like, right?
Yeah, that's the wheel pad.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, very nice. And for the rest of the things, I would like to also ask you. So it can be pretty. What is the weight? So it can be easily pulled with this van.
Yeah. So it's the weight is under 10,000 pounds, so you can legally pull it behind a regular pickup truck. You don't need a special license to do so. And that means that we can also put it on a train to get it across the country.
Oh, that is very nice, very nice. Yeah. What are these on the top? Those are these to lift it, or?
That's just a decorative feature. Those.
Okay. And what about? You said there's also kitchen in it, kitchen, bathroom. It's like efficiency type model.
So right? We have a slightly larger unit that we call the MyPad. So this is our smaller unit, the AdPad. The MyPad is 4 feet longer, and because of that, there's enough space to have a kitchen as well. So that unit doesn't necessarily have to be connected directly to a home, but can provide universal accessibility to any property and have a kitchen. And the kitchen means that the person living in it has a little bit more independence from the folks inside the house.
Okay, and I see that you have a great support for veterans, and you've been in touch with their, I think, programs too, right?
Yeah. So through the Veterans Administration, there is the SAH grant, the Specially Adaptive Housing Grant, and that is for disabled veterans to be able to use to adapt their home. And we worked with a veteran in Jericho, Vermont, named Edmund Little. He had ALS.
Okay.
And he bought one of our units and attached it to his home using that grant.
Oh, very nice, very nice. And that's good to know, because if your program supports those, then they can really, a lot of people can benefit from it. And it's been really great learning. I always thought those were just kind of less eco-friendly, but I think I see yours very nice looking and very comfortable. So I think that's a great news for a lot of people who have interest in these. So anyways, any final thoughts or any final message you would like to share?
I mean, from a wheel pad angle, I would say, if you guys know anybody that's trying to age in place or trying to make their home universally accessible, please, give me a call. Mm-hmm. On sort of a wider lens, though, we're, as I said, we're kind of a niche as a part of a larger industry, the accessory dwelling unit industry, the real estate industry. And I think there's sort of this shift about how people are living and where people are living that is happening in America. And I'm excited to be a part of it. But, I think folks should take a look around at sort of what are the resources that you have available to you and how can you use those in new and different ways. And, if that means building an apartment above your garage and renting it out to earn a little bit of extra rental income, and then moving in there one day, or being able to provide housing for a friend moving to town, or friend's family or caregivers, that type of thing. Taking actions like that, that's how we're going to increase the housing supply in our communities. So, I would say, do something out of the box when it comes to what you've got available to you.
And that makes sense that, if they had to do extension, or then they could do that because it's already pre-built, just put it on it and that's it. You don't need to actually do a lot of construction, and I mean, those costs are there. It's already built and it's kind of pretty neat. And if you need to undo it, you can remove it too. So you're right. Out of box is really very helpful. Well, thank you for coming to our show. It's been a pleasure. So check out his website, and it's I think a great program, and especially for veterans. And if you have some issues, and if you ever think of expanding your for whatever reason, then that is, and even downsizing, so those all are great options. And thank you once again for coming to our show. Take care. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much, Dr. Moby.
Take it.